Welcome to MES College Marampally e-learning.
Hello everyone, I am Lydia Dominic, Faculty, Animation Graphic Design Department, MES College Marampally. In this video, we are going to study about the different elements of design. So let's look what are the different elements needed for a good design. They are line, shape, form, value, texture and color. So the first one is line. Line is one of the 7 elements of art. It is considered by most to be the most basic element of art. Line is considered to be a moving dot. It has an endless number of uses in creation of art. Line can control an viewer's eyes. It can describe edges. It can indicate form as well as a movement. It can also indicate value and a light source in drawing. It can be used to suggest shape, pattern, form, structure, growth, depth, distance, rhythm, movement, and a range of emotions. Lines can be curved, horizontal, vertical, and jagged. For example, curved lines suggest comfort and ease. Horizontal lines suggest distance and calm. Vertical lines suggest height and strength. Whereas jagged lines suggest turmoil and anxiety. Vertical lines are straight up and down and perpendicular to horizontal lines. Horizontal lines are straight up and down and perpendicular to vertical lines. Whereas diagonal lines are lines that are straight in any direction except vertical and horizontal. Zigzag lines are a series of diagonal lines joined end to end. And curved lines, these are the lines that bend in any amount of degree. Lines can be long, short, or anything in between, like thick or thin, or smooth or rough, or it can be continuous, implied, dotted, dashed, or it can change direction, change degree of curve, that is curved lines. These are some of the examples of lines: horizontal, vertical, diagonal, broken, zigzag, wavy, curved, and spiral. These are the examples of line drawings. Next is shape. Shape is a two-dimensional area confined by an actual line or implied line. In drawing, shapes are created when the ends of lines are joined to enclose areas. There are 2 general categories that are used to describe shapes: geometric and free-form or organic shapes. Geometric shapes. It can be described using mathematical terms. They are very regular or precise. They are more often found in man-made things because they are easier to reproduce and make things. Examples of geometric shapes are squares, rectangles, triangles, circles, oval, pentagon, and so on. Free-form or organic shapes. These are difficult to describe because it doesn't have a defined shape. They are irregular and uneven, are more often found in nature. For example, shapes like cloud, puddles, trees, leaves, rocks, and so on. And the art can be divided into 2: representational art and non-representational art. Representational art are the art which represents objects or events in real life or real world. For example, a painting of cat which looks like a cat. It's quite obvious that the artist is depicting. Whereas non-representational art is that which does not depict anything from the real world, like figures. It is not a representation of any figures like landscapes or animals. Non-representational art may simply depict shapes, colors, lines, etc., but may also express things that are not visible, like emotions, feelings. These are some of the examples for non-representational arts. Space. The element of design space refers to the area within, around, above or below an object or objects. Space can be described as the distance around or the area between design objects or elements. Negative space gives the eyes a place to rest, which in turn helps the reader to consider and absorb the other elements on the page. As a result, the underlying message of a design is better communicated. Positive space is filled space, the objects or elements in design. Negative space is the empty space or the open space between elements or objects such as background. Positive and negative space, that is white or black. Areas of the design that contain nothing, that is called negative space, and are important visual element that provide balance. Reducing or increasing negative space can affect the impact of the design. These are some of the examples for negative and positive space. Next one is texture. Texture is a way a surface feels or perceived to feel. Textures are described by the word such as rough, silky or pebbly. Visual texture is a real thing that can be touch sensing. Real texture cannot be represented here because a computer screen, even with the highest quality photographs, can only stimulate textures. Visual or implied texture can be stimulated or invented. Stimulated texture is the type that is created to look like something it is not. For example, in drawing or painting of a cat, where its fur is made to look like real fur. This is the example for texture. Next is form. Form is very similar to the element of design shape. The difference is that the term form is used in artwork that has 3 dimensions instead of 2. That is, it contains length, width and depth. Geometric forms. They are 3-dimensional. They are the objects such as cubes, cylinders, cones, spheres. And the free form, that is the organic forms, which are irregular. And they are the type of forms that most things in nature are, like cloud formations, mountains, trees, bushes. These are relatively free form. It can also be created with sculpture materials like clay, wax, plaster, wood, stone, concrete, cast and constructed metal, plastics, resins, glass and mixed media. These are the examples for form. Next is value or term. The term value is used in the language of art to refer the value of light. The more the light, the higher the value. White is the highest or the lightest value. On the other hand, black is the lowest or darkest value. Color have values as well. Yellow, for example, has a relatively high value, while violet have a relatively low value because it's dark. Value is very important to drawing and painting because value changes are what creates contrast. Color. Another important element of design. The visual element of color has the strongest effect on our emotions. It is the element we use to create the mood or atmosphere of an artwork. Color is the sensation that is stimulated in our brain by different wavelengths of light. One wavelength will stimulate our perception of red, another orange, another yellow, and so on through all the colors of spectrum. Color originates from the light source, that is either viewed directly or as reflected light. Daylight or white light contains light waves for all colors. There is no color without light. The absence of light is complete darkness or black. The mixture of all visible light is white light. In color, we have a color wheel which consists of 2 12 colors. The color wheel consists of primary colors, secondary colors, and tertiary colors. A primary color is a makeup of a basic colors in a color wheel. They are in red, yellow, and blue. Next is the secondary color. Secondary colors are made by mixing equal portions of the primary colors, which create green, orange, and purple. Next is the tertiary color. Tertiary colors are made by mixing a primary color with a neighbouring secondary color. For example, if we mix the yellow with orange, we will get a yellowy orange color in between. If we separate the color wheel, we will get the two categories, warm colors or cool colors. Warm colors include red, orange, yellow, and variations of those three colors. These are the colors of fire, of fall leaves, and of sunsets and sunrises, and are generally energizing, passionate, and positive. Red and yellow are both primary colors, with orange falling in the middle, which means warm colors are truly warm. Whereas cool colors, these indicate green, blue, and purple, are often more subdued than warm colors. They are the colors of night, of water, of nature, and are usually calming and relaxing. Blue is the only primary color within the cool spectrum, which means other colors are created by combining blue with a warm color. Next are the attributes of color. Each color has its own appearance based on the three key categories: hue, chroma, and value. Hue is defined as how most of us perceive or name a color, using the colors of the rainbow like red, orange, green, blue. Chroma. It's also known as saturation, which describes the vividness or dullness of a color. And value. As we said, it is a degree of color's lightness and describes the luminous intensity of a color. So attributes of a color are hue, chroma, or saturation of, and value. So I hope all understood the different elements of design. Thank you.